Carl Jung believed that many people go through life unaware of their own giftedness, not because it isn't there, but because it shows up in ways that feel like burdens, misunderstandings, or even personal flaws. Here is a comprehensive script exploring 10 subtle signs you may be gifted, and how not recognizing them can quietly sabotage your life, relationships, and sense of purpose. You've probably heard the word gifted thrown around as if it only applies to child prodigies, geniuses, or people who achieve extraordinary things early in life. But Jung viewed giftedness differently. To him, gifted traits often begin as inner tensions, traits that set you apart long before you recognize their value. And if you don't understand them, they don't feel like gifts at all. They feel like isolation, confusion, or self-doubt. So here are 10 signs you may be gifted in the Jungian sense, and how failing to recognize them can quietly ruin your life. The first sign is a deep sense of being different, even from childhood. Not superior, just strangely out of sync with the world around you. You think differently, feel differently, notice things others ignore. But without understanding this, you may internalize the difference as something wrong with you. You shrink yourself to fit in, denying your authentic nature. Another sign is emotional intensity. Jung believed that heightened emotional states are markers of a powerful inner life. Yet emotionally intense people often feel defective. You might be told you're too sensitive or too dramatic, so you learn to suppress your emotions. In doing so, you disconnect from your intuition, one of your greatest assets. A third sign, a rich inner world that can feel more real than external life. Gifted individuals often live in layers of imagination, symbolism, and internal exploration. But if you don't know this is normal for certain personality structures, you may mistake it for escapism or laziness, criticizing yourself for not being present enough in the everyday world. Another sign is an acute awareness of meaning. For you, things aren't just things, events aren't just events. Everything feels symbolic, interconnected, or significant. Yet this can make you feel overwhelmed or existentially anxious. Without understanding this trait, you may drift into nihilism or lose your sense of direction. Fifth, a tendency toward perfectionism. This isn't about being tidy, it's the deep inner demand to actualize your potential. Jung saw this drive as a manifestation of the self calling you toward individuation. But without guidance, perfectionism becomes paralysis. You set impossible standards, fear failure, and sabotage your progress. Sixth, sensitivity to the suffering of others. Gifted individuals often absorb the emotions of people around them. You see beneath the surface, sense hidden pain, and carry it with you. Without boundaries, this gift becomes a burden, leading to emotional exhaustion, toxic relationships, or chronic self-neglect. The seventh sign is an insatiable curiosity. You're driven to understand everything: psychology, the universe, people's motives, the meaning of life. But if this curiosity isn't nurtured, you might feel scattered, restless, or misunderstood by people who prefer simpler explanations. You may even dim your own intellectual light to avoid standing out. Eighth, difficulty following conventional paths. Gifted individuals often resist rigid structures, not out of rebellion, but because they perceive alternatives, potential, and nuance that others overlook. If you don't recognize this as a strength, you may think you're failing at life for not fitting into traditional jobs or expectations. Ninth, a natural inclination towards solitude. Many gifted people need long stretches of alone time to process, imagine, and create. But society may label this as antisocial behavior. You may push yourself into constant socializing and burn out, or feel guilty for needing solitude and never give yourself enough of it. And finally, the 10th sign, a persistent inner conflict between who you are and who you think you're supposed to be. Jung believed this tension is the birthplace of individuality. But if you spend years ignoring your deeper self, the conflict can manifest as anxiety, depression, or a sense of emptiness because your unlived life weighs heavily on you. The tragedy, Jung would say, is not lacking giftedness, it's living your life unaware of the gifts you already possess. These traits only become burdens when they're ignored, misunderstood, or suppressed. But when you name them, understand them, and integrate them, they transform into strengths that guide you toward the life you were meant to live. Your task isn't to become gifted. It's to realize that you already are and to stop letting unrecognized gifts sabotage your potential.